Hello, welcome to the Town of Litchfield Recreation Commission meeting. Tonight is Tuesday, March 22nd, 2022. We are meeting at the Town Hall Conference Room, and we do not have any members attending remotely. Time now is 7:30 p.m. We'll do a roll call of members present. My name is Steve Gannon. I am the chair. Mr. Andy Ruggles.
Present.
Mr. Peter Ames, secretary. Present. Member Mike Bosky.
Present.
Member Christopher Burns.
Present.
Selectman's rep Steve Weber.
Present.
We have alternate member Jeff Town with us this evening.
Present.
Miss Judy Brennan has notified us in advance that she will not be in attendance this evening. Therefore, we will appoint Mr. Jeff Town as a full voting member for this meeting. Consideration of previous meeting minutes. We have one to approve, March 8th, 2022. All the members were in attendance except for Mr. Weber. Mr. Burns and Miss Brennan were remote. Has everyone had a chance to review March 8th, 2022 meeting minutes?
Yes.
Right.
Make a motion to accept the meeting minutes from March 8th, 2022.
Thank you, Andy.
I will second.
Thank you, Mike. Any discussion, changes, edits?
So I was remote that day. Did you?
Were you remote? Oh, okay, yeah. I had Mr. Burns remote, but it was you and Miss Brennan. Thank you. All right, any changes, edits, discussion? No. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays? Abstains? Passes 601. All right, public input. We have quite a few people with us tonight. So we'll first start off with fishing derby. Harry, he's not on the agenda, right? No. Harry Manzikian and Jeff Town going to give us an update on the fishing derby. I believe he passed us out a little bit of documentation.
Okay, what I passed out, because I'm such a computer whiz and I don't care to mention that. But anyway, what it is in front of you is an agenda and rules and prize category of prizes. So you can look at it, and then afterwards, I got a couple things to go over. And then, whatever comments you have or suggestions or whatever, be more than happy to take. Jeff and I have been working very close together. So if Jeff hasn't mentioned, what I'm looking for is a total of 8 volunteers, 4 from the Conservation Commission and 4 from you folks. And I'll take more the merrier, okay? Because in these types of things, you just never know, circumstances. What I'm going to ask the volunteers to do is to park down in the community garden center to open up the space in Parker Park, which is limited. And also we have the lot next door to Wilson Farm, which should handle a lot more. Now, today, Joan McGibbon seemed to be even more concerned. So what she's doing is she's going to ask the chief of police to see if maybe people could park on one side of Pinehurst. Okay?
Pinecrest?
Pinecrest.
Yeah.
So.
You really think there will not be enough parking between those 3 locations?
Well, I want to say yes. I want to be positive. But like I said, you just never know.
Yep.
So, and the other thing is that this event is rain or shine. So hopefully it'll be shine, but if it rains. And then Jeff and I went up in front of the Board of Selectmen, and what we asked for some help to get a policeman, and an EMT. The policeman is primarily for, because of 3A.
Mhm.
People like to, how should I use the term, accelerate down the highway? And especially where Parker Park is on a curve, you're going to have people pulling in and out and all that sort of stuff. The EMT, we want to have available just in case of unspecified injuries like hooks in the finger, hooks in the back of the head, kids, whatever.
Twisted
Okay.
ankle, falling in the brook.
I don't know if I'd want to, maybe the parents will let them go down. Anyway, so I've asked for the Board of Selectmen if they could help us out on that.
We'll take care of that.
And we'll take care of that. Now, on the rules, I just want to bring everybody's attention. If you look at item 6 particularly, and I've discussed this with the Board of Selectmen, I've also discussed this with the Conservation Commission, and it says, if help is needed for any reason, you must contact a member of the Conservation, and we're going to change it from Conservation Committee to Conservation, it's not a committee.
Commission.
Anyway, or the Recreation. And the reason I put that in is to cover the town of Litchfield, okay? If something should happen, hopefully it won't, but if something occurred, at least we're asking people to notify somebody on the committee, and especially if there'll be an EMT there. It's to cover us, okay? And it's all to cover parents in case they go into, I don't know, some sort of shock, or I don't know. But I needed to put in there and to cover us on that. I did call because I'm a old fuddy-duddy, and I did call the state on our application. And the lady, her name is Victoria, very nice person, very cooperative. She was extremely apologetic that she hadn't got back to us, but the permit is in the works, okay? And should be coming next week or two. So,
Does the permit cost money or is it free?
pardon?
Is the permit free or does it cost money?
Oh, no, the permit was free.
Okay, it's just,
It didn't cost us anything,
Okay.
so. Jeff and I are gonna start gathering stuff in April, and I'm gonna volunteer my garage to store stuff. I did talk to Paul LeMay. He's approached Bass Pro, and I'm waiting for stuff to come in there. And Jeff and I have discussed a plan B in case something different occurs. So, as far as, I don't know, I know that I'm probably springing on most of you, but if you read down to, if you've got any comments or questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I think it's great, and it's nice to see this return, and thank you, Jeff and Harry, for spearheading this and bringing this out so quickly. I believe you're going to have some of the scouts assist as well, where possible. Was that the plan?
We're working on that, but they're pretty busy.
Yeah, it's their busy time.
Yeah, part of the 8 volunteers, everybody here knows how to clean fish, right? Everybody here is going to learn how to clean fish. We'll deal with that.
We'll deal with the park, and you do the fish cleaning.
We'll deal with those types of things. So, and just for interest's sake, we can put a barrier on property that we own,
Okay,
that the town of Litchfield owns.
I knew that was a concern about
Yes.
keeping the fish there until we're ready to
Yeah,
fish.
I got questioned that today about not using Chase Brook. Gene was not over enthusiastic about stringing across the dam to begin with. And then apparently the form does say that you do have to allow the public access after they stock the fish. Well, that land is all private and it's posted, so we'll
Yeah, it's,
maybe deal with that next year, okay?
Yeah.
And like I said, it is what it is for right now, so
how many fish, I remember you told us, how many fish did you purchase?
well, I ordered 158 and the state is going to supply 158.
Oh, nice. And you,
Fish are expensive.
what did you do for species? Did you do all the same species? Did you mix them and sizes?
I got mostly just rainbows and brookies, okay? I did get a couple 12 to 14 inches.
Okay, so you mixed it up so there'd be some big fish.
Well, most of them are going to be 8 to 10.
10,
And
yeah.
there'll be a couple 12 to 14, so that Jeff's having the Cub Scouts make us some measuring blocks. And I told them, make it at least 16 without luck, you know, whatever. So,
All right.
you know,
So some comments I would have, so we'll ask LPD and LFD to provide 4 hours of coverage so that we have them there as we're setting up and parking.
Steve, I have that covered.
Yeah, yeah, I know you would.
yeah.
We could reach out to someone, ask about possibly signage on the road to let people know there would be a fishing derby or there'd be people on the road.
Well, we're going to put up signage that says parking. And I'm going to get some signs from Joan that'll close the brook.
Yeah.
Until,
talking about
And maybe we
some-
can see Continental will give
about the
us a
big
couple of their flashing
orange
signs.
Yeah, street
Yeah.
sign, yeah,
And-
roadside signs.
part of the volunteers will help us with the parking and stuff like that. So,
Can we put up some cones too and just make a temporary sidewalk for people that are walking over?
On the side of 3A.
Yeah.
Especially from the community garden going up.
Yeah.
That's a tough corner.
So I know his
If
intention
people are going to
is-
be coming from your back.
Yeah, trying to avoid having people park there, but if it gets busy, people are gonna park at the community garden or Pinecrest, which is directly across the street, and end up.
I know it's a little bit
especially-
further, but instead of Pinecrest, can we put them at LMS?
LMS or
GMS?
GMS?
LMS.
well, isn't
What's
that,
what's
GMS is
what's
probably
closer?
closer.
GMS is close.
GMS is probably closer.
Yeah.
How about we just
Is
put 'em
it?
at GMS? Well, LMS, you got to go up, then you got to go all the way down the access road to get into it.
GMS
yeah, I
has a
thought it was
sidewalk.
kind of a hike.
GMS isn't too bad.
It's a nice day.
Now,
Well,
like I said,
hopefully.
we'll,
Yeah, we'll work it out.
Yeah.
We'll get closer.
we'll-
But yeah, I would agree, cones and something so people aren't crossing over into the.
So we only have a sidewalk to the corner of Pinecrest, and after that, we don't have a sidewalk.
because I originally thought maybe we could park down at Griffin and maybe shuttle them up. But then I decided, and who was going to shuttle them,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
In the community garden, having parents walk their kids around that curve wasn't a particularly good idea either. So,
Have you?
GMS is 0.3 of a mile.
yeah,
Have
sorry.
you worked with the fishing derbies in the past?
Yeah, I worked with them at, over in Londonderry Fishing Game Club, and I have actually volunteered with Joan over a number of years.
And
For
how
the-
many, what was the turnout, would you estimate?
Well, the last record that we had were about 50 kids,
Okay.
okay?
Parent or two, so.
I've got sheets all drawn up and I put down 61 numbers. We'll see. And it should be interesting, those who show up, because we've done the fishing derby in a pond. This time we're going to do it in a stream with a current. So it should be interesting. See how, how it goes and stuff like that. So, the only other thing that I mentioned, which has nothing to do with the fishing derby, and I thought about this, is that I'd be willing to, over the summer, and it's something to think about, is maybe having a couple sessions over at Dara Pond, like about 2 hours apiece on teaching you how to fish, the basics.
Mhm.
Okay, because there's, like computers, there's gads of stuff out there. But I have found with the fishing derbies, there are a lot of parents and a lot of kids who don't even know how to do the basics. So it's something that
Yeah,
maybe you want to think about.
yeah, we definitely support that. Just kind of let us know when you want to do it, and we'll announce it and put signs up, and then
Okay.
hopefully get it.
And then the other thing I thought of was that obviously I don't have enough to do, is map and compass. That would be a good area to do too. Now, 99% of the kids are probably grown up with a GPS.
No, on their phone.
I just, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
and I just learned how to spell GPS about 2 years ago. So a compass is a valuable tool. Map is a valuable tool because the GPS is, yes, it's reliable, except when the temperature goes down or you forget to charge it or whatever. But it's just some sort of activity that's in addition to that. So if you guys are interested in something like that, just, let me know and I can probably put something together and we
Yeah,
can
definitely
see.
put something together and then let us know when you want to do it, and we'll try to
Okay.
advertise and push
And
it.
Jason has worked on the poster
Yeah.
and it's awesome. I have to.
I love the retro poster.
Yeah.
It's good.
And, Jeff, I think that the one thing I'm assuming, I understand what I just said. I'm assuming that we're probably not going to release that to the social media, probably not till about maybe mid-April, but I wouldn't think any sooner than that. Actually, I'll be honest with you, I haven't really even thought about it.
April's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's almost there. You could get it on people's calendars, but you'd have to put it out. at
I'd
the
say
end of the
about a
month.
month ahead.
Yeah, that
roughly.
would be like last week, I think. Right? About a month ahead.
Yeah, about mid-April-ish sometime.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to the Jason about it.
Yeah.
And
All
then,
right, so to be clear, fishing derby will be May 14th. Sign-ups start at 7:30 a.m. through 8:15 a.m. Start fishing at 8 a.m. with a signal. Youngest to go first. A limit of 5 fish or 5 pounds. And then, prizes awarded at 11 a.m.
I kind of threw
Yeah.
the state insisted on the rules that it would have to be 5 fish or 5. I don't expect 5.
Yeah. Oh, and this is an important one. This is only for children under the age of 15. Well, 15 and under. At
Yes.
16 years old, you're required to have a fishing
Yes.
license for the state of New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And this is children, not parents. Parents cannot be fishing for their children.
Yes.
Try-
And the last couple of them, I had to mention it to folks. And that's a very delicate situation, like
Yep.
But it's for the kids. It's not for them. So,
They can come back the next day and fish if they want.
well, the other thing too, I think in the agenda, if a child happens to catch 5 fish and gets bored, they can leave, okay, and then come back if they feel they're going to qualify for some of the prizes.
It's
So
3 hours.
I did that.
You don't have
Um,
to hang out.
They're gonna be there to win.
Just try to make it as, parent friendly and kid friendly as possible.
Right. Looking forward to this event. I think we've already voted on this and approved it previously.
Yeah.
So this is more of just for informational purposes. I also think when you speak to Mr. Lemire, ask him if Cabela's would work with getting some deals on like the small fishing one, the little kids fishing reels. I don't remember what they call them. They have a name. They call them. And then the recreation can take some of the funds that we have and possibly try to purchase some. So either use them as gifts for the kids to fish or prizes. I think it'd be gifts.
Well,
The little buddies, I think they're called.
yeah, what I did is, because he asked me, so I sent him the list of the category of prizes. And for under 8, I kind of indicated that I would, if he's going to gather some things,
Yep.
The push button kind of kits for the kids
Yep.
under 8, and then
I
our
think it'd
rod
be
and
great
reel.
if we can give little kids their own
Yeah,
little buddy fishing derby.
Yeah, if they don't have little zip codes to go out there and just cast.
And we do
and
have money set aside for this project that we've been, hoping to come about, and we still have some
yeah,
funds. for it.
and like I said, we'll see what he comes up with, and then we'll make adjustments accordingly. So.
All right.
So is God willing and the creek don't rise, and I hope it does. We'll see what happens, and if I'm expecting all positive things, so like I said, use as many volunteers as you guys want to show up, and the same thing with the Conservation Commission, and it's been certainly an interesting thing for me because I've learned to use the computer more than I have realized.
Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Manzikian?
You bringing in a restroom or anything?
Pardon?
You bringing in a restroom or anything? Any facilities?
Probably should bring in a porta potty.
Yep.
Put in the parking lot.
At least one.
Definitely one.
I didn't even think of that
Yeah, probably a good idea.
because
Steve, if you want.
Londonderry Fishing Game Club had an outhouse,
Yes.
and the ones here in Litchfield, there was no
Right.
available.
Yeah, what did we say? We're going to start manning them, bringing them in April 1st.
April 1st. Yeah, but I'll just have them dropped off for that
Yeah,
weekend.
for that weekend. Yep.
So what I'm going to try to do, bring in a,
A porta potty just for the weekend.
okay,
We'll put it up in Parker Park parking lot where it's level, and
Yeah.
and then we'll have it removed afterwards.
okay. See,
Good thought.
Jeff, yeah, I guess we just don't worry about things like that.
We don't have young kids.
Well, thank you, Harry. Appreciate you coming in with us this evening.
Okay. And if
Very good.
I'm on the email, so, if something strikes one of you folks, I even know how to get my email. Hey, listen, you
Hey.
guys laugh. It maybe 15 years ago, I didn't even know how to plug one of these damn things in, so I'm making progress. I'm in at least the 20th century. so-
Thanks for all your efforts,
Thank you.
Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
Hey, sorry.
All right. While we're on public input, do we have anybody else here that is not from Litchfield Youth Soccer Camp, DSL or LBA?
Pickleball, lacrosse.
Pickleball. All right. How about we'll do pickleball first? Lacrosse. I did see the email come through. Didn't see it go on the agenda, but we will definitely add you to the agenda.
Sure. So I didn't know how many I need to keep them all. Keep going.
That's okay.
Tennis court.
Awesome, thank you.
Oh, I know what you're here for. For the record, could you just state your name and so that we can have it,
My name is Peter Burr.
like Peter?
I'm a Litchfield resident, past president of the Litchfield Pickleball Association. Avid pickleball player, 5 to 6 days a week, 2 to 3.5 hours a day. As you know, there's currently 2 indoor pickleball courts at the Talent Hall. Talent Hall needs some work, but that's a separate story for another day. There's currently 2 tennis courts at Sawmill. And on that, there's a pickleball court embedded into each one of the tennis courts. And you'll see the outline in the first 2 pages. It shows the tennis courts. The LPA would like to recommend that we add lines to the current court configuration, making additional pickleball courts available. The courts at Sawmill are 120 feet by 60 feet, which is optimum for pickleball. We can put 2 pickleball courts per each end of the tennis court. So we get to add 8 pickleball courts It's a sawmill.
So would they be going across the court
No.
or?
So if you, if you take your tennis net, it'd be two on each side of it. And I've got some measurements that explain it out. I can go into detail with you if you want, but. So you're going to have your tennis court, and each end of your tennis court, you've got two pickleball courts.
If the net runs this way, which way the
Runs the same way. Your nets are the same.
same, so it goes this way, it runs parallel to it.
This is my tennis court.
Mm-hmm.
This is my pickleball court, pickleball court.
Okay.
The pickleball court is 44 by 20 feet. So with the dimensions of 60 feet, you come in 5.5 feet, run your 20 feet, 10 feet, 20 feet, 5.5 feet.
Okay.
Gives you a 60-foot dimension, and you're on the side.
Okay.
You can see the dimensions there. The current courts have some significant cracks in them. If we don't move forward to add pickleball courts, the recommendation is that we get the courts fixed for tennis. I think you've got a couple safety hazards. Anybody that plays tennis, it's really not conducive to playing good or enjoyable tennis. Court 2, which is the one we look at to the right, probably is more repair needed than the others. LPA is willing to assist financially with the project of the lines. Would have to look at the number, but we're willing to help out with that. The courts would need to be power washed and cleaned with compressed air prior to any painting. And ideally would want the cracks finished prior to painting so it's a smooth surface so we're not painting colors.
Are those asphalt? Or
What's
are they
that?
are they asphalt? Or are they concrete?
They're the typical tar courts.
Yeah, I think
Okay,
So
so,
you
it's
need to-
asphalt.
If you fill in the crack, and there's a couple photos of some pretty deep cracks that have to be filled in and smoothed out,
Sure.
not just for pickleball, but for tennis
No,
as well.
absolutely.
If we were to go to this, would recommend that we get a metal storage bin that would be attached to one of the fences. Because when you play the pickleball, you leave the tennis nets up at all times. Pickleball nets are temporary in nature. We would store them in there. We would store our balls, first aid kits, AED if necessary, and then we try and do that. It'd be best to do the lines in both tennis courts because we could recommend doing it on one. I think it'd be better doing both, but that's up to the rec commission to decide what to do. Court 1 would be one we could do fairly straight away. There's minimal crack damage there. A lot of towns are doing this. Down in Brockton, down the Cape, we've got them all over the place. Drake just did the same thing. Westford did it at Greystone Park. They just added 6 new courts in Manchester. I don't think we'll get to 6 courts or new courts here in Litchfield, but I think we could add more pickleball courts to the town. Then a schedule of some court or some set would have to be identified so we don't have conflict. What we do down the Cape in Dennis, we sell time for the summer. It costs $40 for residents. We own the courts, being the tennis, the pickleball group from 8 to 12. After 12, it's open to the public. But we have over 600 folks sign up, so it could be used as a financial, not trying to compare the two different animals, but it's a potential for a moneymaker at that point, if you want to go that route. Some things that I don't know is the cost in a quick phone call, approximately $2,000 just to put down pickleball lines. I didn't call any other numbers. I called one guy who knew. That's what I come in. I talk to folks in Westford where I play every day. I talk to folks in Drake, and that number is probably a fairly even baseline number
And that would be for all 8 or per court?
per court.
Per court.
So it would run about $4,000 to put pickleball lines down for 8 courts.
Well, it would be 16,000.
So it's per tennis court. You're saying that
Oh,
I'm sorry.
put 4 there, it's 2,000. So do
Correct.
the next 4 is another 2,000.
Gotcha.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yep. Good. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So it'd be about $4,000 to line your 8 courts.
Gotcha.
And the recommendation on colors, we could get it done fairly quickly to the gentleman I talked to, which is Vermont Line. He's done it for Londonderry. He's familiar with the process. There are other ones we could go to on that as well. Use and how often? I believe that the growth of pickleball, and I'll get some, pickleball grew to 4.2 million players in 2020, up 23.1%. It continues to expand. We're behind the curve as far as the town with pickleball goes, if you look at pickleball throughout the country. LPA has donated nets and balls to middle school, also the high school some years ago. I think you're going to see it become a varsity sport not too long. The MIAA is close to having it come out in 2025 to be a varsity sport. So I think you'll see it
Really?
played in school. Yeah. I
Wow.
think they only need a few more countries or something to get on board to see it in the Olympics. There's a lot of tournaments, a lot of money being made. The first paddle just broke the $300 barrel from Selkirk the other day. Not worth $330. Doesn't make you any better player, but just you can see, like any sport, I know when I started playing softball, I used wood bats. When I finished up, I was using a $300 Adidas bat, and the ball went further. But, with technology, everything changes. And a lot of softball, lacrosse, the sticks, everything changes. I think the big thing for a pickleball, if we don't know about it, it's cross-generational. I play with my son-in-laws, beat them all the time. I play with the granddaughters, the grandsons, and you just see the families going out there, and it's an absolute blast to play. One other side note, it's a great exercise for the seniors. I'm not fully on board what the town does for seniors, but that's who probably would use it mostly in the morning, especially during the cooler times of the year and be out there. So I think you'd see a lot of use of the courts, whether you want to go with 4, whether you want to go with 8. That's something we need to figure out our process. I did put the last 2 photos to show you the cracks on the courts. Again, whether we go forward with pickleball, that's a separate issue, but you need to really look at those courts and take some work on to make them safe for everybody to play.
Yeah, we noticed the damage last year,
Oh, yeah.
as well as the seal coating is lifting in a lot of
Right.
areas, and they're definitely weather. Would have to try to get some. We can go down and take a look ourselves, but from looking at the pictures, it's probably better off being done by a professional.
Mhm.
We can go down there and stamp some cold concrete in it, but I don't know how.
I would agree.
it'll
I know when I
last.
talked to Vermont Lines, I believe it is, he does something like that, but it's just, that's just kind of a side job. He does the lines first because you want to have that done prior to putting your lines down, so you've got a smooth surface.
Yep.
The other one, you might have tennis players come in and go, don't screw with my white lines because they're very parochial. A pickleball player says, just give me some lines so I can go play the game. So I would recommend that we put yellow, if we went to that point, yellow pickleball lines, so they would intersect with the tennis lines, and the white lines show up pretty well down there now. You do have the internal pickleball court that's there. I really don't think it's worth time and effort unless you repaint the surfaces to go spend money to repaint the lines.
Mhm.
You know, we could get a bucket of paint together and go down and paint it, but I don't think that needs to be done. And the reason we're recommending more, when you use the one net, you need to get an Uber or Lyft to go get the ball after you hit it because you're 40 feet from the line, and with Uber prices going up, it's not fiscally sound to do that.
Does anybody know how old those courts are and if they're original pavement?
Mike's our historian.
Yeah, and Mike's like, oh, that
I
predates
have no
me.
idea. I
Were
have
they
no idea
put-
when they were last redone.
Were they put in when Sawmill was built, or was it? Were they
Were they
always?
before Sawmill?
Like, I think,
They were long
I think the courts have been redone
They
not too long ago.
Right.
I don't know what not too long ago means, but if you look at the coloration, it's fairly good. You know,
Yeah.
you definitely have definitive lines, but it's the courts themselves
Yeah.
that are breaking down.
I don't know when they were repainted. They were repainted at least once since I've been here. So once in the last 18 years. The courts have been around forever. Like the courts have been around predated everything. Like they've been around before Sawmill, before anything. They were always there. People just didn't see them because they were buried before in trees.
Whoever did it when they put them in, because they did the 60 by 120, and we went down and measured that, that's unusual. A lot of towns shorten that and, you know, bring it in tighter so you can put the court in less space. So that's actually advantageous that it's that size. There you go.
So we do have some paving companies in town we can reach out to.
It's honestly, it's kind of different.
Yeah,
Like, when
that's what I
we
figured.
when we did the basketball courts, at Dara,
Mhm.
paving. I'm trying to remember who paved them. I don't know if who came down to pave them, but then like the painting and everything was like we brought someone in to
Well,
do
I
it.
know
Because
that's special. You
special
guys gotta
paint,
wait
whatever,
for the right
but
day, the right
I-
weather, everything.
I don't think it's just a regular like bring in someone and just do it. But I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. Because when you start sealing up those cracks, you got to it has to be flush, or
Mhm.
it looks
Absolutely
it's horrendous. It's horrendous to try to play on, to try to even look at, to run on. So, if you know someone out, like you can ask them and see what they say. They may say, "Yeah, we've done it before," or they may like, "Yeah, we're going to pass it off to someone else."
We'd be willing to run clinics too, to help that out with we being LPA. You know, if there's any instruction,
Teach
people
people.
are interested, it's the youth. We've tried that before and never really got a lot of interest, but I think it's just ballooning as a sport. I think more and more people, if we gave them the opportunity to play.
One of our members who isn't here tonight, Judy Brennan's been looking into something that's called AARP communities. And it's not AARP in the typical sense where
Right.
you turn 55, you start
That's a livable community.
livable communities. And this is kind of aligns to exactly what she's talking
Does.
about.
Yeah.
You get out on the Cape to a lot of towns. The first question was golf courses, then it was tennis. Now tennis has fallen to the
Yeah.
wayside. Just a quick example. Dennis added 14 courts 3 years ago. Yarmouth, one town over, added 10. Barnstable just opened up 10 in October. They're putting 4 more in Harwich, which will give them 12. Eastham, Wellfleet, all added courts. Mashpee, Sandwich, and Falmouth have all added courts in the last 3 to 5 years. And they're packed.
These
And again, a different group. I get that, but just the growth.
I'm just curious if you may not know the answer, but these towns that are adding courts, are they typically taking over tennis courts or are they adding their own?
Yarmouth was, they added their own. Yarmouth was using old courts on the near the high school. Dennis had an old basketball court that was sitting and doing absolutely nothing. So I think it came in at $430,000. They had to do fundraising and things of that, but they added 14 courts. Barnstable took an old piece of land. Mashpee put it in where the old dog pound was. The only thing they had to change was soundproofing screens because the neighbors didn't like the boop, 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 boop. But a lot of it is they're using new land or redoing land that's there. It's not being used.
We do have the impact fees that this should fall under. When Sawmill Brook was built, some of the impact fees were allocated for a tennis court, and I would think it could be used for a pickleball court as well. My thought is now is we could probably get you going now temporarily on those courts, but I think long term would probably be better off new ones, because if we're going to go out and pave them, they're probably going to tear up fences. It's, you go from fixing to replacing real quick.
From a pickleball person, ideally, that's what you want to do. Blow up the tennis courts and then put in your pickleball courts. Because you just don't see it. And I'll give you Dennis, for example. They have 4 tennis courts, and you'll have the tennis players come out, and you hear this, bip, bip. They look down the other end, there's 65 maniacs going boom, 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 boom. And the big concern is it's windy, it's over 30 miles an hour. Okay, we'll switch after 6 points. It's just a whole different mindset to play the game.
It is possible that if somebody sees you playing, they may say, yeah, let's try that instead.
Exactly.
Well, let me ask this in defensive tennis. Do we have? let me hear it. Well, I'm just to your point about the lines. So, is there any league or group that uses those courts kind of formally? All I've seen is just people incidentally using it. I would just want to respect.
To add what you're saying, Harwich and a couple of the other schools in Drake, they absolutely wanted Westford. They're adding new tennis courts. They would not allow the lines to match, to be cross-lined. They had to have separate pickleball courts because a tennis player through the high school, we don't have high school tennis, do we?
No, we don't have enough courts.
I didn't. Okay, so that if that's a concern, to your point, you're absolutely right. We wouldn't want to cross the lines because the tennis players won't go out there because it's confusing when you've got one person chasing. Absolutely valid.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That'd be my concern.
Right.
From someone who watches sports happen on fields lined with 5 different sports on turf, you should be able to handle 2 different color lines on a tennis court.
Agreed.
Just get over it.
Well, no, you mean if it was like if you sat there and said, I'm going to build a turf field. Well, you know something, you'll line that turf field for at least 4 different sports, probably.
Oh, look at
So-
where you coach over there in the sports zone, over in Bedford.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's what it is. It's so you're talking about a tennis court and you can't line it with 2 different colors. Yeah, okay. You should be able to put 2 different color lines down and be fine. I mean, especially at the start. I mean, right now they're all white and people don't complain. So
You've got the little darker blue you can see on there that's crosses in there, but it's not really a big impact.
Right,
Here,
no,
here you'd have some more lines intersecting, but
you could do, but if you're doing a different color line, it should be fine.
agreed.
Have you played those courts? I mean,
Yeah.
are they in sad shape?
I've played them recently. They weren't terrible.
Yeah, that looks.
That one.
The last one is at court two. That if you're facing from the parking lot, that's the one to the right, and that crack is pretty big going up to the middle.
It looks like it's expanded over the last year or two.
Yep. Court one, you could with minimal effort.
Yeah.
You could truly get that aligned and get your 4 courts down and probably play. Anyway,
All right.
what do you
Well,
need
thank
from
you,
me?
sir.
Any questions?
We'll take it under advisement. We'll give it some thought. If you could reach out to your guy to find out how much he thinks it'd be to line the court so that we could start planning.
You want me to contact a couple of vendors and see what it comes in?
Yeah, that would
Want
be
to do 4 or 8, or just come and have them do both? Give me a 4 and an 8 price.
Yeah. I think that'd give us what would it take to get you at least half going? Like I said, I just hate throwing good money out on bad courts that are going to need a lot of help.
He told me, the one guy, that he would not recommend doing anything if you've got cracks.
Right.
He just says you're going to spend your money, then you're going to have to repaint it, or if you do it, you're going to get a crack in the way. So he said, at least make your courts somewhat playable. And I
Stable.
believe both of them aren't the best way you could do it. But I think we're wasting everybody's money.
Yeah, with these cracks, it looks like they'll pop back up. They're pretty significant.
Okay. When do you want me to get back to you? I mean, I can,
Whenever you
next
get
meeting?
12th of April.
You're Chris?
I'm Chris.
You're the one that sent me the email?
Yeah, you responded.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay, I'll send, well, I just want to make sure, because I don't know everybody. I'll respond back to you, Chris. I'll try and do it within the 2 weeks, if that's okay with you folks.
Yep,
I'll try and get 3 or 4 quotes the best I can to do 4 and 8.
Yep.
And we'll go from there.
And then we'll try to reach out to a couple of pavement companies or, seal coating companies to see what they say
Or
about.
tennis court companies.
Tennis
I bet
courts,
you tennis court companies would be the people to call.
Yeah, because I would think it's more of a rubberized. I don't know what these courts are made out of, but I don't think they're just complete regular asphalt.
No, they're pretty much regular asphalt.
Are they
It's
just
the paint. When you paint, like the paint on there is what smooths it out and gives it a different feel.
Okay.
The outsides are.
I'll ask the ones that I come in contact with.
Yep.
And I'll ask that question, do they seal the cracks, and go from there as well.
That'd be great.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
Thank you.
That's a good
Appreciate
idea.
it.
Thank you. Hey, Steve, we're still sitting on funds pickleball gave us for talent.
Right. Yes.
That we haven't utilized.
Well,
Now-
they were to go to the floor, and then we went and investigated the floor,
Right.
getting it repaired, and the flooring company was like, "It's not even worth it."
Yeah. So what we're saying is pickleball contributed funds to the rec 2 years ago.
Somewhere between
Constantly.
Generally giving something every year.
Every
Right.
year.
We're sitting somewhere between $3,000 and $5,000.
$5,000, right? Pickle.
And it was to wash the floor, clean the floor, buff the floor, do whatever we could to
Right.
help out. And they're still sitting there. I know they were earmarked for
Yep.
Dara, for talent, but
It's
can
in
we
the,
utilize them?
probably. Yeah, because they're in the I don't want to call it a slush fund,
The
but
general
it's
fund.
The general fund, yeah.
Does that make sense to you? To use that funds?
That's your fund that we gave to you to use. If you used it, we'd appreciate that. But I know we can give you some additional funds right now.
Okay.
Yeah, as long as we're working together on it, because it's what they've tried to do over the years, is give back to the community. So,
Yeah, I would
Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely,
Okay.
we'll work together. We'll try to get you something.
all right.
Thank you.
Thanks. Have a great night.
Thank you.
You as well. Appreciate it.
All right, so we have Litchfield Youth Soccer and who do we have here?
Soccer lacrosse.
Soccer and lacrosse. All right, let's because we have soccer listed on the agenda. Let's go with soccer first, and then we'll get lacrosse on.
Let's do lacrosse right before adjournment.
Yeah. Lacrosse right to the very end. We like to spend time with Josh.
Okay,
I only have one copy, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
Give it to Steve.
So I have Miss Jennifer Bork, and you're not Jennifer Bork. So
Well, no, this is Brian here falls under the youth soccer camp, not the.
Oh, okay.
OASL.
You pulled the short straw last night at the meeting, huh?
I did send. I sent an email in.
Right.
like,
There's a
telling-
separate.
yeah,
There was a
yeah,
separate
yeah.
request.
It might be different.
all right. I was throwing these together. I thought youth soccer and soccer leagues were one and the same.
Well, I met with Jen. I was working with her on it, but I mean, I sent this in. I think separately. I'm sure.
This was on the 13th.
Be 1 second, get caught up to date.
Yeah, no problem.
March 13th, Chris?
Yes. I can forward it to you.
I do not see it.
We had a whole discussion about it
You
after the
replied-
fact.
Yeah.
You replied to it.
It's probably changed my. All right, we'll go with it. All right, so youth soccer. What are the days you're looking for? I hate to have to-
So my name's Brian Henderson too.
Hi,
Sorry.
Brian.
Nice
How are
to
you?
nice to meet everybody. I was hoping to use Sawmill between July 11th and the 14th. I coach the Campbell High School varsity boys. What I was looking to do really is I'm bringing their coaches and friends, their guys I played with. They played Division One. I played at Temple. They played at Temple or Penn State or Bucknell, probably one of those schools. But they coach now. 2 of them are D3 college coaches. They're D3 head college coaches, and they were D1 assistants. So just one's a head coach in Pennsylvania, one's a head coach in New York. And I have a guy my buddy of mine that works for the Philadelphia Academy youth team. So what I wanted to do was link it together, really. I saw the beautiful facilities, beautiful fields, and I usually go out to somebody else's camp every year and kind of, work other camps or college camps or things of that nature in the summer anyways. And I was really thinking we could bring it here to us. The boys asked me a ton of questions about college and recruiting and things of that nature, and they're always kind of bouncing that off me. So I thought, not only that, and hopefully my own kids of the future and make it a solid kind of soccer hub. I was hoping to make it an annual thing, just kind of once a year in the summer, and get hopefully a different injection of college coaches and some of the same ones back. And just really get some guys up here and exposure to the boys. We have great fields compared to some other areas. I just throw that out there.
What age group you looking at?
So it was going to be 2 separate camps. The 11th and 12th, it was more a college ID camp where I'd have the college coaches in. They'd come in. We would do it those 2 days between 9 through 12, incoming grades 9 through 12. And then on the 13th and 14th, we were going to kind of open that up, boys and girls. It'd really be hard for me to get girls like college ID together. I would have to network that. I don't have the connections there yet to do that. But as far as 1 through 7, that we have people that on both sides. So we were going to open that up to boys and girls on the 13th and 14th. That worked out.
And what time frame are you talking about for the 13th and 14th? For the same?
Like 9 to 3.
9 to 3.
Yeah, same area.
What percentage would be Litchfield youth?
I'd be guessing. I wouldn't know. What I can say is that for a small town, we have a lot of boys show up at tryouts for JV and varsity. I mean, those numbers were over 50. It was right by 52,
by
I think,
something like
51,
that.
something like that. I think at the first day of tryouts. So that's a lot for a small town. Big, D2, D1 schools, even in Mass. I think some of the more rural ones don't get those kind of numbers for soccer sometimes. So I just think there's a lot of interested youth guys, and there's a lot of kids that graduated on this team this year that probably are not playing in college. That definitely could. They're probably playing other sports. They play so many other sports. Yeah, they're probably playing other sports. It's a good class, but that definitely could. That would garner interest from other people.
I think realistically, I think especially this year 1, you'd have at least, my guess would be about 50, at least 50% of, I think those in attendance would end up being from Litchfield. Brian came and talked to us at the soccer board last month, and we're fully on board with this idea, especially like the whole college recruiting process. After going through it over the last year, it's definitely something where if you can start early and get some sort of basis in there in terms of even how to the basic steps of how to do it, the earlier the better. It becomes a lot of work, especially if you don't realize what you're doing when you're going in. It was just a good idea. It's something we don't offer in town. We don't. It's not really. Honestly, unless you're talking about kids who are, playing somewhere in one of the club teams full time in high school, which a lot of kids, especially in this town, don't do because they're playing multiple sports. To try to figure out how to navigate some of this on your own is tough. I think what Brian was presenting, they're just having an idea of having people come here and answer questions and run kids through what they're going to be doing and have coaches look at them. It just opens another avenue for a lot of kids who will be playing, because we have soccer is still pumping out kids. There was probably about 50 high schoolers who tried out this year. And then, you still have the youth teams coming up, and there's still plenty of kids playing. So I don't see that our numbers of soccer kids really going down at any point.
And this would not interfere with soccer currently because I think
No, we're
she ends like
after the season's over at that point. This is purely
That's what I was gonna ask. What do we usually have on the field at that time?
Yeah, so-
nothing.
Jennifer said.
Lacrosse is done by
It
then?
ends like about July 1st is when she
Everything's
said.
yeah, everything. I mean, all summer spring sports are over that last week of June at the latest.
And
If
soccer
not
and lacrosse
earlier.
have no travel teams or anything that'll be utilizing the fields and.
We also are going to also ask for a clinic, most likely in July.
Mhm.
But the fields are plenty
Yeah,
size and we could work around with them.
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, there's the biggest conflict is, and I don't know how the new landscaper is going to be, is saying, okay, we need to make sure that the sprinklers are off during that time of day for that week. We make sure there's no mowing happening during that time during that week, and go from there. Like that's really the biggest conflicts. Besides that, Sawmill's pretty much open during the day all the time. Flag football will probably be there at night, but not during the days.
So there's no conflict of the fields.
Yeah.
Do you know, obviously one such thing we have to consider is typically for these type of camps, you have to provide proof of insurance and you have to go through.
Yeah, Jen just sent that over to me. So yeah, we're working on that right now, finalizing the insurance. I just got a couple quotes that I was comparing, so that'll be done probably before
And
next
they
week.
get paid $25 to the state for New Hampshire youth camps.
What's
It
that?
just basically says you have a background check policy in place.
Okay.
That's something else we always require from the rec.
Okay.
We can send you the
So,
link.
I was just gonna say, yeah, where
We'll send you a link. It's
Okay.
a form you send into Concord. You give them $25 saying that you have a background check.
Oh,
And
nice.
you get put onto a list.
Okay.
The good thing is you're working with Jen and the soccer guys. The soccer
Yeah,
go through all this.
I could send you the link too,
Yeah.
Brandon. So it's easy enough. And then, I mean, you guys are all going to be background checked
Yeah.
through because you're all working for schools.
They all-
so
yeah,
everyone
the
has to
school
be
system
background
does
checked
either way.
anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I mean,
You already have in place. So it's a fun,
Yeah.
it's just a fundamentality. You have to
I mean,
go through.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
That won't be a problem. That's fine. And to Mike's point too, even when I was coming through, those are murky waters. And every like coach that's there now, I was gonna say kid because I still feel that way, I guess a little bit. But every coach that's there now, totally different journey on when they found out or when they're getting there or how they got recruited. Everybody's different. It's challenging if you don't know. If you're that age, it's different.
My nephew plays soccer for Louisville.
Nice.
He's been
Quality
started
program.
every single game. Now he's hurt, but he's
That's
3 years in. and
That's
he's-
awesome. One of my best man at my wedding, one of the guys coming to the camp, he started every game of his career.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like an Iron Man. I don't know. He held up. Yeah.
All right, I like it. I like that you're on board with soccer as well because that's Mike is obviously the professional
Yeah.
with us when it comes to soccer and making sure everything's in line. That's awesome.
Is this something you advertise to surrounding communities or how?
Honestly, I wanted to build it. I like build everything first. Like I have a website that'll be about to come out that they handle like registration, email stuff, that a lot of little things that'll pop up for a camp that needs to be done, like waivers and things like this that they'll help with. They're really big help so far. But one of the last obstacles that I want to finalize is the insurance.
Yep.
And then as far as that goes, then I want to start getting it out. So through a couple of my club coaches that I know, and I even think like the Litchfield page to Londonderry, our JV coach that works in Londonderry. I've reached out to the Londonderry coach too. I'm not sure if he's busy, but I'm trying to connect with Todd as well. I think Londonderry would be a good connection for us when we work together.
we should be able to we should be able to find ways to
I think
promote
we'll
it.
have quite a few once it
either
gets.
contacting NHSL and NHSA actually, and maybe pushing it through there, and just letting them know and asking them if they can send out a general email or something about it. So.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Facebook in town always works, right?
I think some of
Photo
them
work
help.
is what it is.
Facebook in this town pushes everything out as quickly as it possibly could ever go.
All right, so you're looking to use Sawmill Brook from July 11th. I would just say through the 15th, so it'll be the whole week. I think would be a better way to just carve it out from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday.
Perfect. Yes, I would love that.
Um,
If that
estimated
works.
about 50% of the participants from Litchfield. This will be the first time you've been working with the soccer commission. They're on the board and they approve. They already noted that there's no conflicts with the fields. And then we'll need the COI and a background check. Typically, we would make a motion, then we'll discuss, but we discussed obviously first, so it's okay. So I would entertain a motion to allow Brian Henderson to hold youth soccer camps with the information I just stated.
So moved.
Steve?
I'll second.
All right, any other discussion?
I think my only concern would be the mowing, just because we're going to be shutting down the field essentially all week from 9 to 3.
Right.
So we need to coordinate that so it happens on Sunday.
Well, not even like if they follow that schedule where they were mowing Fridays, if the idea is to go Monday through Thursday, really, not even Friday, then
Right.
they could stay on the Friday schedule.
I just want to make sure it's not a foot long while they're.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, honestly, let's put it this way.
That's
It's gonna. It might be like that. It might be like that even if you do it on Sunday. By the time it rolls around, that field grows so fast over the summer that they may not be a way around it. But I mean, are you really gonna have them come down there like off schedule to come on to Sunday to do it? I think if it's just done on Friday, it'll be fine.
And I think we share the schedule with them. They'll know when it's free and when it's not.
Right.
So we did appoint Andy as the liaison with the Lions again this year.
Did a hell of a job last year.
It's
Lucky me.
So
I backed up a step when they asked for volunteers, so it's fine.
so what we'll do is just work with Andy closely when time comes, and we'll make sure that he's not cutting the fields.
Definitely, we'll need a reminder on that because
Yeah.
my brain isn't that good.
Huh?
So.
Do they have a regular schedule for mowing? The plan?
Don't
It's
know
a new
yet.
one this
we
year,
gotta
so-
meet. We gotta meet with them and figure that out.
Okay. And when we figure that out, we just put it on the calendar and then it'll be easier to remember to work around it.
Yeah. I'll try and reach out a couple weeks ahead of time.
That'd be
too.
awesome.
Yeah, check in if that works.
All right. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. 1, 2, 3.
Aye.
All right. Nays, abstains, motion carries 7-0-0. Thank you, Brian. Contingent that we get the COI and the background check, of course, but you're
Sounds
working
good.
with Jen on that, so I'm sure it'll come in time.
Brian, I'll send you who we ended up using like for lacrosse, who's used for a lot of sports. I'll send you the information for the insurance company.
Yeah.
Maybe you can work with them.
I'll check it
Because
out.
they
'Cause I
were
was
by far the
poking
most
around a
reasonable
couple.
over during our search at that time. So
Yeah,
I know basketball uses them. I'm pretty sure basketball still uses them. Lacrosse definitely
Oh,
still uses them.
nice.
So.
I think all of us use the same one.
I didn't
Yeah.
finalize it yet either. I was hoping
Yeah.
on that
So
one
if
thing
you
so I
haven't
could-
if you haven't found one yet, then I'll send that name. I'll send that name later, and you can take a look there too.
Perfect. Awesome. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Nice meeting
Thanks.
you.
Good evening.
All right. I'm not going to make this guy wait. I know how mean you
We love
people
it.
are. All right, come on up. Let's talk about lacrosse.
All right. First off, I just want to say thank you to the Rec Commission for all your support for Litchfield Youth Lacrosse over the last couple of years. So my name is Josh Forhart. I'm the field coordinator for the group. We actually have almost 70 kids signed up for this year's session, which is really great. Almost all from Litchfield. I think we have about 3 or 4 from Hudson this year. We had Hudson was unable to field a few teams, so we had tried to find a way to bring them in, but we just didn't have enough kids. We fell in that weird space. We were able to take a couple of them and allow them to have a chance to play, which is really exciting. So in the request that we sent out, we're looking to access the fields as soon as we can, up and through June 15th is what we're saying, for weekdays from 5 to 8, and then as well as weekends as scheduled by NYLA. We plan to have the same structure as we did in years past, where we have up to 2 teams a weeknight, and then to have a backup nights for rain or other issues in order to allow the kids to have 2 practices each with 4 teams that we have fielded. We have 2 boys and 2 girls teams planned.
So how does this you guys work with soccer and
Yeah, we actually, the reason why you don't have exact dates is because we're trying to finalize between soccer and lacrosse. We've got a lot of cross players, probably almost 40.
that play both.
That play both. So we're trying to coordinate schedules, and I didn't want to wait until the next. I didn't want to wait and have an off cycle have an off cycle ask. So we haven't locked down which teams are going to do which days yet, and that's why you see the request is really for that 5 to 8 slot on the lacrosse field at Sawmill.
Sawmillbrook. So when are you thinking? Like, when do you really think you'll start? Like April 1st, or as soon as the fields are dry?
We're actually already started up in the Bedford Sportsplex.
Oh, really? Okay.
So we've had 3 sessions up there. Our last one is on April 2nd. And then we want to move onto the fields as soon as possible. So we're ready. I think our first games are that next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, I was at Sawmill on Sunday. You know, most of it, part of it's dry. You know, the part that doesn't get as much sun isn't. You know, I mean, if it doesn't snow or doesn't snow greatly between now and, you know, a weekend, 10 days away, I'd say probably open Sawmill on the 4th. It's just a matter of, you know,
We could get a foot of snow.
yeah, exactly. I mean, that's why you can't predict anything. So, but I think the hope would be to get it open on the 4th.
And we take direction from the commission and from Mike to let us know whenever those fields are available, and that's when we would start. Until then, we'll continue to work through. We've got up at the Bedford Sportsplex.
I don't know, as we were just talking about, we don't know when the contractor is going to get out there and actually do the cleanup and the initial cut and opening the irrigation and all that kind of work too. So I don't know what kind of shape they're going to be in.
They're actually not bad.
No?
Yeah,
No, they're actually not bad right now. I mean, honestly, I don't know if they usually start up the irrigation until the beginning of May.
Right.
A lot of times, depending on how wet it is normally out and everything. Usually, it's not until the beginning of May that they'll open the irrigation.
June last year.
But the field itself was in pretty good shape. Sunday when I was there.
Nice. Okay.
It gets a lot of sun there.
Oh yeah, I mean it's honestly the
quarters that get touched.
biggest problem is by the chain link
Yep.
is the snow sits there because there's no sun there. So you actually need to get some warmer weather and some wind to really dry it out. So it might be mushy. But the thing is when we line it, we don't go that far. We don't go all the way down there.
Mm-hmm.
So in the soccer field, the bigger soccer field probably goes, well, it's probably going to be about the same this year. Because I want to shift the lacrosse field off where the holes have been the last couple of years. But it doesn't go all the way into that corner. So it gives that a little extra time to dry out before it gives that all year to dry out. No one's really beating on it because there's no line down there. So
Is spring soccer as busy as fall soccer?
oh yeah, busier.
Busier.
Is it really?
High school teams play.
Oh, down there.
There's only one high school team, so it's not, so it's only one. Last year there were two high school teams, so it was a little bit busier last spring.
Wait, is the CHS plays in the spring too?
No, there's travel. So it's basically high school kids playing through LYSL, but it's
Gotcha.
travel.
Gotcha. Okay.
And we take direction from Mike and the rest of the team, even on areas where we need to stay off of, right? And we'll direct our teams to make sure we're in the areas where we're supposed to be until the fields are ready to really use the whole thing. Even like the way we line it, we don't practice on around the creases, right? Where our goals are and those other elements, we always move off in order to save the fields for all of our teams. Just because we only have the one lacrosse field, so we try to make sure we move everything around. We don't use those areas except for in the game, so that we're always stressing a different part of the fields.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, lacrosse is much better listen than the soccer coaches.
How about your certificate of insurance and your
The certificate of insurance came in. The new one came in on the 14th, right before the request.
and how about the state permit
Yeah, that went out, I think, about week and a half ago, I think.
Yeah, it takes almost a month before it gets posted. By the time it gets in there, they get into the system, they post it up there, and then once a month, they put the new spreadsheet up.
It's a state job, same.
Yeah. Takes
They
time.
need someone to look at it, someone to supervise it, someone to supervise the person supervising it.
And then someone's got to post it.
Yeah.
Yeah. on the
So
last
it takes
day.
about a month for that to get up there. So it's usually the first of the month. You'll see like February's, March's, who came in.
Yeah, that was sent about, I think, about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. And we don't have any new coaches. It's all the same returning coaches from last year.
Yep. Okay.
Same board members as well. So everyone is still, is still on there from where we are.
I think it's valid for 2 years.
Yep.
Was it the 16th? No, it was close enough.
All right. Like I said, typically we vote on it and then go to discussion, but we're okay with this. So I'll entertain a motion to allow youth lacrosse to utilize the Sawmill Brook fields starting around April 4th through June 15th. Daily 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. They will work with soccer's schedule to avoid conflicts. COI has been received and the camp certificate has been applied for. Can I have a motion on this?
So moved.
Andy,
Second.
thank you, Chris. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays and abstains, motion carries 7-0-0.
Excellent. Just want to say thank you very much, everyone here. I know you guys support a lot of the different sports in town, especially with what we've got going down there. You've always been a really great partner and a supporter of lacrosse. So thank you very much, as well as soccer for my other two teams.
The tough part is the scheduling.
Right? All good. All good. We work well with them. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
See you,
Thanks,
Josh.
Josh.
All right.
Good luck.
All right. So we did have Ben Stinson from Adult Teen Librarian asked about. He's an adult teen librarian at Aaron Cutler Memorial Library. He's seeking to use a field for a dog agility demonstration. He does not have a particular time or date. He's just looking for an afternoon on a summer weekend. He will attend the next recreation meeting. So we'll table this until the next meeting. Something to keep in mind is we'll just have to hopefully find a large enough field by then. And it sounds like possibly Sawmill Brook, maybe after lacrosse is done, or they'll be going to June. And then, we'll work on it, but that he'll be coming in. Because if it's a town, I guess you could say sponsored event, I don't think they have to provide insurance or anything, right? Because it's a library. I think that would be a pretty cool thing to see it and have at the town. LGSL, Litchfield Girls Soccer League, seeking to
That's softball.
softball.
We do have to go back to soccer
dare
too.
That's Steve's bugaboo. You don't want to mix those up.
Seeking to extend usage of town hall due to wet fields. Original schedule would end on March 27th, wishing to extend till April 24th. I don't think anybody else is in there at that time. It's still wide open, right?
It's wide open. There's nobody on the calendar. So we sent in for softball and for baseball,
Yeah.
just to extend
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Same.
and it may be 2 weeks and the fields may be dry enough, or we get a foot of snow and it's not just, this
Right.
past weekend, both baseball and softball were out in the field in Darren. It was dry as could be. We were in the infields, we were on the grassy outfield, and we did it outside. So we're just trying to hedge our bets to keep it going for the girls and the boys.
Yep.
Until sometime within April.
Do we even have to make a motion on this? Do we have to vote this in? I think we could just.
No, this is kind of like
It's
when
an
we
extension.
let went in on Saturday.
Yeah, baseball.
Baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball went in there. Same thing. So
So just advisory. Yep, all right.
make sure it's on the calendar for those weeks, so no one else is asking.
Who's gonna update the calendar?
Who has access?
Everyone. All right, I'll update the calendar.
You have it up right now. You might as well just put it in there.
Huh?
You have it up right now. You might as well just.
I
put it in.
don't. I have my notes.
Still looking for the request for soccer camp.
I came home, ate dinner at the counter, and started writing notes down. I was like, I gotta go. This working thing's tough. Leaving the house,
Especially when you have to leave the house,
you have to
right?
get up, I got to shower, I got to leave the house,
Brush your teeth. It's
Brutal.
like,
be there all day, come home.
Maybe you ought to give it up.
at least you're getting your steps in now.
Oh, it's crazy. What else do we have? What seemed like there was this?
The LYSL soccer field request.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. Common one. So Miss Jennifer Bork looking to use Scott Innisfield and Sawmill Brook, April 1st through July 22nd. Typical Saturday through Sunday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday, 4 to 9 p.m. For soccer scrimmages and games. Did we receive their COI?
The COI is good from
From fall,
it's
the year.
September to
Okay.
August.
And they're always very good about getting the youth camp paperwork. That's probably
No, it's in process.
the process.
Yeah.
All right. So this is a common one that they ask for every year. All right. Make a motion to accept. I'll entertain a motion to accept, I should say.
So moved.
Second. Thank you, Peter. Any more discussion?
So this was for Sawmill and Innis.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't hear it, but
Yeah.
that's my fault.
Sawmill and this, yep. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Nays, abstained. Just challenging. 601.
I am back on the soccer board, so yeah, I'm abstaining.
Recreation Commission members, Mr. Bosky, have you decided if you're going to stick around?
I am not going to expire.
Okay.
So yeah, I will stick around.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Giving us 3 more.
I'll notify Troy. Judy has already said she's sticking around as well.
Well, that's if we sign off on it.
Oh, yeah. We'll notify her when she lands. We got an email from Linda Lasalas, who lives at the house that right in front of the soccer fields. The picket fence is starting to fall in.
Innis.
No, you're in it. Okay.
It's got in this field. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fall into her yard or fall into the field?
Her yard.
Or yeah, because the supports are on the inside, or on as you go down. So
Who owns the fence? Do we own
we
it?
do.
We do.
It's in sad shape.
We fixed it. We fixed it up a few years ago, but yeah, it probably
Needs to be replaced.
Or just removed.
Do we need a fence?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yes.
Okay.
I would strongly recommend keeping a fence there.
Fences make good neighbors.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, there's the long history with the neighborhood and just keeping as much peace as possible. You can't get once that fence ends, they all go spread out at the end on the lawns there. So
Right.
if you open it up, and then there's one part where it's kind of a gully, it goes down to the brook. So you kind of want to keep it all the way until you get to the field.
That's a lot
Where's
of
the
fence to
brook?
replace.
And there's one way in the back.
There's I don't know. There's is it not the, maybe not, it's not the brook there. There's something there that I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, there's a brook there. It's like kind
Is
of
it-
behind the
It's
shed.
behind, but there's
Oh,
one.
so we
There's
go
something
behind
that,
the shedding. You're right.
Yeah, and
it's
nice
like,
and cake,
do the power lines run there? I think it's maybe the power lines run over it, and then it definitely dives down a ways
Yeah.
before along that behind that fence before you get to the field.
So we certainly have not budgeted for new fencing, especially in today's,
Like $30,000 worth of fence.
and it'll have to be both sides because the other one is also. I was there last year, and the neighbor came out on the other side, and he was talking to me about the fence. we're gonna do something about this fence that's falling in.
So is it repairable? Is there a couple posts we can put in and
I-
keep all the pickets and?
I don't know. I drove by and I did see that has definitely collapsed. I'm guessing it's pretty old.
It is pretty old. Yeah,
I
as I
used to know
said,
if
we
lost a
fixed some
post or
pieces
two
of
and
it,
we could
but
put new posts in and just for the time being.
It's
Maybe.
a temporary fix. At
Yeah,
least.
temporary
Yeah,
fix.
it's
until we can
definitely-
budget it.
We will have to do a temporary fix until we can get a quote on replacing fences.
It's falling over, not just leaning. It's like
Oh, it's
okay.
it's over. Something snapped and kicked out. We'll get Jay to do it. Jay likes digging holes.
I was thinking we get, a senior project, a sophomore project, someone to put some hours in and help out. Is there?
The cost of wood that would be.
kids like digging holes now.
Yeah.
Can I do it on like this?
Well, if we get once the new
Tractor.
tractor comes in,
and we
right?
It's a good one.
Makes making holes a whole lot easier.
could rent or buy a post hole digger.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something
Pay for
I will go
itself
down
in
and see
the
what I could do
Yeah.
about making a temporary fix, but it is something we're gonna have to try to squeeze into the budget for new fencing.
So we want to go down and look at it. Do you want the highway department to look at it? I mean,
I'll go down and look
There you
at
go.
it this weekend. Yeah, it's right down the street. Comfort stations. Who put that in? I don't know what that.
Porta potty.
what potties?
It's just
Oh.
more dignified.
Peter was using
Okay.
a very nice word for
Comfort
it.
stations. What? Huh? There's nothing comfortable about them. If you
No,
go in it,
there's
there's
nothing
nothing
good about
comfortable.
those
We're a whole lot comfortable after the fact, though.
We're gonna bring them in. So
Well, they're already there.
they're already there. Probably disgusting. They were never picked up. Were they usually picked up at the end of the seasons?
Yes and no. Some years, yes. Some years, no.
Are we getting charged?
they?
if they don't.
No,
pick
they're
them up?
not being cleaned right now.
Okay, so we should probably start locking them.
Yeah.
I know the one at Corning's still there.
I know Jeff Lane's definitely still
Jeff
there.
Lane's still
You and I
there.
were there
Still
not
there,
too long ago.
Dara's supposed to stay there all
They're
year.
supposed to.
Dara does stay all year. Is there
I
one down
don't know if the
Sawmill?
one at Sawmill's there.
How about Innis?
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I mean,
I-
that means you actually got to take a hike. Like, I mean,
Yeah, you
Go
gotta really
find it.
walk to go find
Was
that
Was
one.
there even one at Innis?
Yeah.
There was one at all of them, yeah.
I'm gonna assume it's still there, and probably the same thing at Sawmill.
I think they stopped servicing me in October. September, October is when they stopped.
So going forward, should we just instead of saying, "Oh, shut this one off now, shut that one," we should just say,
well, I thought we had
We did that
agreed to
last
do
year.
April 1st to November 15th or something.
We
right?
did last year. We shut them off at the same time. The reason they don't pick them up is because it costs them more to get back out and drop them off.
Yeah.
So they
I
just
mean,
stop servicing them.
They can
They'd rather
like
just leave them there.
aren't they supposed to like winterize them?
Yes, some get winterized, some
Right.
don't. We've had years where they did winterize them, years where they didn't winterize them, and
Okay. There's no porta potty at Sawmill.
no.
It's an easy one to
So I
get
wonder when they
to.
pick that one up.
It's an easy one to get to. That's why.
Yeah.
So something else we should do is build cement pads that we could lock them down to, so that they don't
Definitely so they
tipped
get
over.
pushed over. Because last year we had a lot of pushovers.
And I was talking to one of the guys that was cleaning them out and asked him, if we make a cement pad, what do you suggest? And he's like, just put some bolts, drill a hole through it and put a lock. And then if we have to come out to move them, just go down and let us, if they won't move unless we request them to.
Mhm.
So if we know we need them to move it, we'll go down and take the lock off so they can be lifted up. But he said that's typically what people do. They just put a bolt hole and then there's enough holes in it where you can put a lock to keep it from being tipped.
Yeah, because that tipping was bad last year.
It was ridiculous. Yeah.
It's messy.
All right, so yeah, we'll let Troy know that we'll go April 1st through November 15th. 15th, I assume, because soccer ends. Is it?
November 15th. Yeah, because of you could be November 1st, but for the
Playoffs and stuff.
for the Halloween tournament
Yeah, the
that's usually
tournament you
there,
guys
it's
have.
usually the 8th or 7th or 9th.
Baseball can actually get turned off even before then. I mean, other than, you go down to Corning, there's nothing else to do down there, right?
Baseball, maybe
But-
July.
But but if we start doing tournaments and so
Yeah.
forth. But I'm thinking that the one at Jeff Lane, at least there's a playground there.
Mhm.
But the Corning, there's nothing else there other than the two fields.
Nope. It's just something to tip over.
But then scheduling it to get them down there and all that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's
If
a
we
simple,
don't-
it's a simple email just to tell Troy, hey, don't service this one anymore.
But if we don't lock it, then
Well, that's the other thing. Well, then if you lock it and someone's down there using the playground, it's like,
I'd rather just say.
That's usually why you leave them there over the summer, because you never know who's going to be there,
Down
and
there.
it saves.
family goes down to
Yeah,
pick up
right.
a game or something,
Yeah.
or kids are at the playground, or that's why we always keep it Dara, because people always use the playground. They're using the basketball courts.
Yeah.
I mean, there's always something going on down there.
How often do they service them? Once a week, or whatever? Do you know?
They were doing well during COVID. They were doing them twice a week,
Yeah.
because we request them to, but normally it's once a week.
All right, I think.
I know too much about porta potties.
Way too
Seriously.
Comfort stations too.
Yeah, sorry, comfort station.
So thoughts on keeping them all going from April 1st to November 15th, and then just shut them down?
Yeah.
Aye.
And then possibly throwing a lock on them. Can we lock them?
I don't think we need a lock.
We didn't have any
Yeah, we
issues.
don't clean them, so.
Well, we didn't have any issues this winter with them being pushed over or anything.
No one goes down once the winter hits. No one's down there because, it's either too cold or too much snow or whatever. So
Well, Andy hits Jeff
Like-
Lane on his way home.
No, but sometimes like the UPS guy, you might need to stop in there, and
The Amazon guy.
he's like, "Oh, it's locked."
some random person shows up at Sawmill like 8:30 every day to use it. Like seriously, I've been walking down. There are some times where I'm walking down there, like someone just pulls in, goes, leaves. Like, what's going on?
Cup of coffee kicked in.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, he's done with his coffee.
We were also notified that a very generous company in town will be addressing the parking lots at Roy Memorial Park and Corning Road. He met with Jay and Troy last week. Sounds like he's going to go down and then dig up Roy, possibly put some drainage in.
So the intent is to put a main pipe going all the way through, with a couple culverts going into it, or grates going down into it. And then they're going to see how well it drains. And after it drains, they'll figure out if they're going to gravel, pave it, or reclaimed. So first is drainage. Will it drain properly?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Then from there, they'll proceed on how they want to go.
Which is big,
Yeah.
Yeah.
especially for that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's huge because, I mean, that place is a swimming pool
Oh yeah,
size.
it's more full than Dara.
Some days it really is. So that's the intent, to do the drainage first, watch how it drains, and after that, they'll figure out the medium they're going to put on the top.
Okay. Any ideas? Timeframes?
No.
I know it works. It could be tomorrow, could be.
Better believe it. You never know.
Yeah.
I think the intent is to do the old fire station first, all that work.
Yep.
And from there, figure out what they're going to do at Dara and Corning.
Corning is going to be a drainage situation too, or is it going to be just?
I think
more
they're
of
just
a-
going to do what they did with Jeff Lane.
Probably grade it.
They're
grade
going to
it?
grade it, and then they're just going to put down reclaimed asphalt.
Do you know if he's going to remove that tree that's in the parking lot at Corning? Like, has
Oh,
anybody
that'd be awesome.
discussed?
Nobody has discussed anything like that.
I asked Troy if he could set up a meeting, a sit down, because it'd be great.
I
if
do
we
not
could-
know why that tree's even there.
It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It's crazy. They get the whole parking lot. They have this one single tree, and there's like a turnaround on the other side of it.
Yeah.
It's like, why didn't you take the tree down when you put the parking lot in?
So I think in that situation, it would be nice if it looks like Jeff Lane, where get rid of that tree, square it out a little bit so that because right now it's
Well,
jagged. You don't know where to
I
park.
mean, honestly, isn't that something we should be looking at? Like, we should be independent of.
No matter what, we should take that tree down.
Should we just?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, it shouldn't be. We shouldn't be expecting
Right.
him to come in, take down the tree and pave a.
But
We
it
should be taking down the tree on our own, and then
I think that makes sense.
But most likely he'll be there with a
was it?
big
We'll
piece of
explain with
It's a
chainsaw.
decent size tree.
12 to 14 inch, like double birch or something like that. It's a big tree.
We'll leave it and just block off that access. I don't know why it's there either.
No
It's-
idea.
It disturbs me.
Every time I see them, like, why is this tree left here?
Yeah.
Historical marker.
Stands in a historical marker. Shh, you're on TV. All right. LED streetlights. They've gone through, replaced the LED streetlights. I asked Troy to replace 2 of them at Roy Memorial Park, which they did. Definitely much brighter.
All the intersections are much brighter. I didn't even realize until I started driving around the other night. It looks
Going
nice.
down
Yeah.
Albuquerque, when you get to the high school, there's one that's just
Yeah.
annoying. One concern I had is from the parking lot at Roe Memorial Park to the building, there used to be a very dark spot by the gate. And it seems like now that street light definitely is much
Yeah.
brighter. I don't know if anybody
Because the
else
reason
is
they
doing
didn't do that one is they had to get permission from Eversource to do that one pole that didn't have one on it.
Oh, really?
Since it didn't have one, you have to go to Eversource first in order to do it. So they took care of everything they
Yeah.
could, hoping that the ones that they did down there are going to brighten enough that we don't have to do that.
It does look like it's definitely helped.
Mhm.
I encourage everybody to take a ride down there some night or in the morning and get an impression to see if that dark zone is gone.
Maybe I'll stop and use the comfort station.
That's it. I think they did what? The one in the parking lot and the one down by the playground, right?
Yeah.
All right, April 26th meeting.
Just a question raised that is school vacation week, and if we might just want to check to see if we'll have quorum or perhaps move the meeting if folks are out of town.
I'll be out of town.
I will be here.
I should be here.
Which one?
I should be here.
I might be out of town.
Oh, actually, I won't be here.
12th of April?
April 26th.
26th.
Oh, that's not good. I'm gonna be here all of April.
I will be out of town.
Better ring in the new,
Yeah.
So
Never
1,
good.
2,
new
3,
term.
We won't tell Judy.
4
She'll think you-
out of town.
4 out of town.
I expired 3 of June. It's
Yeah. What would that do?
just want to see what's on the agenda. I mean, play it by ear.
Yeah. So
If we have nothing pressing, it's
I mean, I could always call into a meeting if we needed a vote or something.
Yeah, I could.
That's true.
I could participate remotely if needed.
should just really made Erica happy.
Sorry, honey.
If we don't have a meeting, just do me a favor and tell my wife we do.
Chris and I will be at
You're
Romano's.
just changing the location of the meeting.
wait.
That's all you gotta do, Chris. Change the location of the meeting.
I'm still hoping for the 7
Steve's
7
gonna-
p.m.
Steve
start.
has a very set location elsewhere. So
Yeah.
We spend enough
we're
time
going
together
on a
anyway,
retreat.
she wouldn't think
We have a
anything.
remote
Oh, that's-
meeting.
that's-
At,
Oh, that's the
you know.
it may happen to be at Romano's. Who knows? All right. So yeah, well, right now we'll play by ear, and if we know at least 4 members will be out, if there's not a big enough agenda, we'll cancel it when we get closer to it. That's
Do we want to do something about that tree up at Corning?
So we have
You want to
baseball.
take a tree down this week?
We have baseball cleanup day coming April 2nd and then April 9th.
Oh, you put dates to them?
Yeah,
I missed that.
I sent you an email today.
I missed that.
So maybe if we have time, I can look into doing that.
Do you feel comfortable dropping a tree that size?
Yeah, I'll drop it right on Brook Street. Or
You're
whatever.
right on the road.
It's gonna fall that way.
It is.
There's like 3 or 4 trunks that come out of it. Each one goes in a different direction.
So if we drop it that way, can we get Kevin Brown to come down and clean it up because it's a road issue?
I think so.
Yeah.
Get the road
At
agent
that
to come
point, it
take care of it.
at that
I don't know
point-
how it fell.
At that point, it becomes his problem.
Yeah, that's right. Bring the chipper while you're at it. See, ultimately, what I would like to do in that parking lot, we could do this when we get our own tractor, is it's also that big dirt mound when you first get in. We're right in front of the shed. Clean that up. Or it's not even dirt now. I think it's just overgrown shrubs and.
You're talking about going down the hill.
Brush hog.
Yeah.
So the snack shack's here, the shed right here. There's
Yeah.
a bunch of fallen trees. and
Yeah,
all
on,
that
on
stuff.
both sides. It's just a mess. And
So
the
we
trash.
actually brush hogged a lot of that 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, because we cut it all down because it was growing so high.
Right.
We're back.
It's just
It just goes back every year.
it's disturbing. But with the tractor, we'll be able to do a lot of cleanup and get that mess out of there. But yeah,
When are we getting that?
saw an email the other day. Does not have the bucket yet. Waiting on the bucket, I think he said, and he's waiting on the brush hog,
So there's just a tractor.
just the tractor. Speaking to someone we know that sells that equipment, he strongly advised that we do not take receipt of the tractor until we have at least enough implements to use it. Because
Yeah, it
once
doesn't
it
make sense.
hits the ground, the warranty
Warranty,
status.
yes. Makes a lot of sense.
But yeah, they're waiting on the bucket.
Time frame, they didn't give you one.
No,
Doesn't sound good.
no, it's probably on that boat that sank.
Mhm.
But he did say the original quote is we should have it by April timeframe, so it's closing in.
Sometime in the next 6
You want it
weeks.
for cleanup day?
Would have been nice.
Yeah.
We have other means. Other people like us more.
Well, we'll reach out to him again to see if he has a date when he thinks he can get us a bucket. We could live without the brush hog, but a bucket obviously is. If not, I'll have I think a York rake and then the underbelly grass lawnmower thing. So what do we get? A bucket, a York rake, brush hog, and the underbelly mower.
Should we reach out to the new lawn care company to find out when they're going to do fall cleanup?
Spring cleanup.
Because it will save us. Spring cleanup because it'll save us a ton of work.
Yeah, I wasn't really planning on doing much of that.
That's what I'm saying. It will save us a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Across all fields.
Yeah.
You want to reach out to him? You want me to reach out to him and introduce you?
Yeah, it's up to you if you want to. It doesn't matter.
I notice that they do have a hiring event going on at their facility.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy.
Hopefully,
Should
they
we
have
go?
enough people. I'm making beer now. All right. Anything else? Nope. All right. Entertain a motion to adjourn. Have a second.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
700. Thank you and good night.